தமிழ் கோர்வை சேனல் சார்பாக அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பெயர் கண்ணதாசன். Today I am going to present my video on classical genetics, technical terms. Technical terms to understand the concepts of genetics, part 2. Already you learnt about part 1. Before we enter into this video, if you like this video, press the like button, share this video to your friends, comment on it, subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to receive more such videos in future. Here I gave the links of related videos: DNA part 1, DNA part 2 and classical genetics technical terms part 1. You please watch these videos in the same order, then you will understand the worthiness of these videos. Here I am going to discuss about the types of variation. Yesterday I discussed about the variation as a technical term. Today, types of variation. Somatic variation. This is the variation present in the body characters influenced by the environment. Germinal variation present in the variation present in the gametes. So it can be inherited from one generation to another generation. Again, it is divided into two types. One is continuous variation and another one is discontinuous variation. Both having two more character. One is substantive and another one is meristic. Substantive means shape, size, color, etc. of a particular organ. Meristic means number of grains like that, etc. Okay. And first we are going to discuss about the discontinuous variation. Here you can see the flower color, two extreme flower color, one is white and another one is purple. There is no intermediate color with respect to the flower color of this species, so it is said to be discontinuous variation. It consists of only limited form of variation. More examples: style length in primula, long and short; plant height of garden pea, tall and dwarf; and it is controlled by one or two major genes only, not many; and it is genetically determined without any intermediate form or no overlapping between two phenotypes or extreme phenotypes like tall and dwarf. There is no intermediate height, so it is called as qualitative inheritance. It can be expressed in terms of their quality but not with respect to their quantity. Here I gave the picture of Primula polyneura. Here you can see there are two varieties. One is short style and another one is long style. There is no intermediate length of style, so it is discontinuous. Continuous variation. It is influenced by both environment and genetic factors. In a population, most of the characteristics exhibit a complete gradation from one extreme to other without any break. Suppose you take the example of capsicum annum, that is the chilies. It shows the continuous variation with respect to its fruit length. When we are crossing the round fruit with the elongated one, we will be getting intermediate in the F1 generation. When you are self-pollinating it in the F1 generation, in the F2 generation we will be getting the variety of length of the fruits. So it is called as continuous variation. And continuous variation also determined by many genes, polygenes. Many genes means polygenes, and also the environmental character. It is also said to be quantitative inheritance. In order to interpret the result, we have to quantify in terms of number of fruits, number of seeds, etc. So it is said to be quantitative. Example: human height and skin color. Suppose you take skin color from complete fair complexion to complete darkness. There are so many varieties of skin complexion we could find. So it is said to be the that is quantitative inheritance and also continuous variation. And here I gave the difference between continuous variation and discontinuous variation. I would like to discuss only about the graph. With respect to continuous variation, you will get the bell shaped curve. This is one extreme you consider, this is another extreme. Okay, in between, for every point there are so many variations present, and middle point where more number of individuals are present. On the other hand, if you take the discontinuous variation, where you could get only the bar graph, where you can get only two variation or maximum of three. right? Say on the one side tall and another side dwarf. In some cases, the intermediate color also or intermediate character also will be appearing. In such case, you will be getting the graph like this. And emasculation and cross fertilization. What is emasculation? It is the removal of anthers. Why the anther should be removed from the purple flower? In order to transfer the pollen grains from the white flower. So we are going to cross, artificially we are going to cross. This is called as hybridization between the purple flower and white flower. So pollen grains are transferred. That is called as cross fertilization or cross pollination. Okay, so we are able to create the hybrid varieties. Particulate theory of Mendel. Mendel's theory of inheritance known as particulate theory because he established that the characters are determined by some factors. They are called as hereditary units and also called as minute particles. Now we discovered these particles are nothing but genes. So his theory is said to be the particulate theory of inheritance. True breeding lines and pure breeding strains. Okay, both are same, true breeding or pure breeding. Okay, so Mendel for his parental plants, he obtained pure breeding varieties first by performing continuous self-pollination. When we are performing continuous self-pollination, we will be getting the stable trait of inheritance from parent to offsprings. Now you please just observe this cross of Mendel monohybrid cross. F1 generation is self-pollinators, capital T, small t versus again capital T, small t on the female side. We get three types of genotypes. Please take note of it here. Capital T, capital T, capital T, small t and small t, small t. Self-fertilization and self-pollination, right? Self-fertilization or self-pollination. Here, the pollen grains are transferred from a flower to the stigma of the same flower. Then it is called a self-pollination. When the gametes are fusing with the ovules, that is male gametes are fusing with the ovule, then it is called a self-fertilization, right? So here true breeding and pure breeding continues. Self-pollination is the basis for obtaining the pure breeding varieties. So specific parental trait become constant in inheritance and expression for many generation. So continuously for many generation we will be getting constantly the same trait or same variation, right? So homozygosity is the rule for pure breeding. So here you see capital T, small t, right? That is what I already asked you to take note of it. When it is self-pollinated, there are three varieties. It is a tall plant, but we are getting capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, both are tall, and also dwarf we are getting, so it is not pure. Okay, and again the tall is self-pollinated continuously, so we are able to obtain the homozygous dominant alleles continuously, so it is called as dominant pure line. On the other hand, you see recessive pure line we are getting. So in between this is not pure. So continuous self-pollination leads to pure breeding varieties. Reciprocal cross. What is reciprocal cross? If you consider this is the Pisum sativa with respect to round and wrinkled. Okay, this flower is considered as male. So transferring the pollen grain from round to the wrinkled. Okay, in the hybrid variety we are getting all the seeds round. So round is expressed. And here you see round is the female, wrinkled is the male. So we are transferring the pollen grain, okay, in a reverse order, right, from wrinkled to round to the stigma of the round. Again we are getting only the round seeds. So what is the inference behind this experiment? Reciprocal cross means sex is not influencing the inheritance of a trait, right? So even if you take tall female versus dwarf male or tall male versus dwarf female, we will be obtaining only the tall plant in the hybrids, that is in the F1 plant. So sex is not a factor to determine the inheritance of a character. So even Mendel studied all the characters, all of them by reciprocal cross they gave the same result, right? So this is the end of part 2 of technical terms classical genetics. Thank you student for watching.